Hey there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Nall, and this is your 10 Weather Impact Recap for the week. Let's start with a look at some of the top weather stories from around the country. On Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed a plan to make daylight saving time permanent. The bill now heads to the Senate. If this goes through, the clocks won't change twice a year anymore, but there are pros and cons to that decision. Libby Cunningham explains the impact that this change could have in East Tennessee.
No matter what time it is, there's probably something Josh Watson has to do. He's a farmer in Sweetwater and says he wishes lawmakers would consider his profession before making any decision on daylight saving time.
I wish they'd reconsider it, but I know they're not going to. We're less than 2% of the vote, so it's not going to happen. If I worked a 9 to 5, I would want the daylight savings time. I would have more time in the evenings.
He's worried about others, too.
It puts these kids getting up, going to school before daylight, and is that going to be safe? So the adults are asking for more daylight in the evening and putting their kids at risk in the morning.
Doctors say sleep matters, so no matter what lawmakers decide our day should look like, we've got to keep the circadian rhythm in check.
I think one of the major pros is around the time shifts in general. So if it's kind of a more universal, it allows us to switch back to our natural circadian rhythm and maintain that throughout the years.
Dr. Nicholas Klein says keeping some kind of set schedule, even if it isn't daylight saving time, could be beneficial to everyone's health.
I think you could make arguments for either side, but the permanent standard time would allow that early morning stimulus or trigger to allow us to wake up kind of more naturally and allow us to kind of get to sleep a little bit faster in the evening, so that the time is, the daylight is kind of dropping off at 8 p.m.
Kilauea was at it again on Wednesday in Hawaii, with lava fountains reaching almost 1,000 feet into the air. An ash NATO even made an appearance in front of one of the cameras. You can see it blowing across here, and if you hear the audio, you hear the little rocks hitting the camera. This was the 51st episode of an eruption that began in December of 2024. Huge wildfires burning in Canada and northern Minnesota are producing large amounts of smoke, and the thick plumes are creating dangerously poor air quality conditions across the Great Lakes, Midwest, and Northeast this week. Ash is also falling in portions of Michigan downwind from the large fires. Air quality alerts are in effect from Minnesota to Massachusetts, and officials are encouraging folks in the affected areas to avoid time outdoors due to the unhealthy conditions. In Texas, days of torrential rain has led to widespread flooding in hill country, with people in many communities having to move to higher ground. Uvalde County has been particularly hard hit by the slow-moving storms. More than 16 inches of rain has fallen so far this week. Now, for perspective, that county typically receives only 23 inches in an entire year, so that's a lot of rain in a short period of time. And we had our own flooding event back here in East Tennessee over the weekend. Tropical downpours brought torrential rain to portions of Cott County. Houses flooded and roads were washed out by flooding and landslides. The community of Del Rio was particularly hard hit by this most recent event, leaving neighbors digging through mud and debris to salvage what they can. Alana Mutnick spoke with people who say the road to recovery is just beginning.
The Del Rio community in Cott County saw destructive flash flooding Saturday morning. Neighbors tell me it reminded them of Hurricane Helene, and now they're left to rebuild in the exact same way.
The Cott County community is all too familiar with floodwaters.
The whole creek was more or less running on this side of the road, and it just devastated everything down through here.
Del Rio resident Jackie Turner says Saturday's stream surpassed anything his neighborhood experienced during Hurricane Helene.
I had 20-something roosters tied out back. They were all drowned, couldn't even get to them. All my pens, everything was just washed away and destroyed.
A lot of rain fell in a very short period of time.
EMA Director Joe Esway says swollen creeks tore through homes and businesses.
I believe we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 mud/landslides that are blocking roadways. Blue Mill Road's got about 1,000 cubic yards of mud and debris on it. Del Rio was hit hard by Helene, and they're hit hard again by this event.
And that's the highest I've ever seen those creeks, and I've lived here all my life.
Cott County locals are now relying on the same thing that carried them through before, each other.
The pavement is just tore up off the ground. It's just unreal. It looks like a bomb has went off.
The more people we can get to come in here and help, quicker everybody can get back to normal life.
Neighbors here say it's going to take a village to rebuild the area, but they also say that they've done it before and they'll do it again. In Cobb County, I'm Alana Mutnick.
In California, a portion of the Steamer Lane Cliff in Santa Cruz has collapsed into the ocean after weeks of massive waves, leaving surfers and scientists concerned about the impact of erosion on the area. Jasmine DeJarnett shares the story.
We can't change the rain, we can't change the waves, and unfortunately the damage has sort of been done by where we built in California.
After weeks of massive waves crashing in, a piece of the cliff at Steamer Lane is now in the ocean.
Chunks.
Local surfers are already noticing a difference.
This wave has changed with this erosion. Whether it's for better or for worse, that's everyone's different opinion, but it has changed in some way. I've heard that it's hollower, I've heard that it's a little bit more refraction and a little bit more bumpy.
UC Santa Cruz professor Gary Griggs has been studying this coastline for years. He says latest storms and bigger waves are only accelerating the erosion.
Climate change is real. We have good science. Sea level rise is real. We know waves are getting bigger. We're probably going to get, a big El Nino this year. So be aware that those things are really happening. It's not a conspiracy or something.
Sean Burns with Save the Waves has served here for years. He says the break is still good, but is terrified of the next collapse.
I'm really scared for this next chunk to come down, whenever that may be. That's going to significantly alter the wave, and I'm scared if that's going to worsen it and damage it really bad.
A study from Save the Waves shows that surfing generates $200 million a year for the city.
If waves were to change and the surfability of those waves change, then that is a loss of the surfability amount of hours of people visiting here to go surf, as well as if conditions change here, people go elsewhere, and so that's the city losing out on economic revenue.
With the waves growing and the sea rising, experts say there is really only one thing California can do.
Buildings are being torn down and moved back, but that's not something we're doing on a large scale yet. But it will happen. Maybe this century, maybe the next. It's coming.
In Arizona, monsoon season has finally kicked in, and along with the daily showers and storms, gusty winds brought several dust storms to the Phoenix area over the weekend and on Monday. Along with the darkening skies, the dust also reduced visibility on roads. Now, Monday's rain at Sky Harbor Airport ended a 105-day stretch of dry weather in the city. And those dry conditions in Arizona are impacting the economy on Lake Powell. Peak visitation is normally between Memorial Day and Labor Day, but the low water levels are affecting the turnout of tourists for some local businesses. Samantha Hoffman shares how businesses are trying to adapt.
In about 1983, the lake level was all the way up to the bottom of these hotel rooms around here. You used to be able to moor your boat, get out, go to your room, and come back to your boat and go on your merry way. These days, the boat ramp here, this concrete doesn't even reach the water level as it sits today.
The Lake Powell experience is changing as the reservoir sits less than 24% full from its capacity.
Where I'm standing right now used to be underwater.
Antelope Island has turned to Antelope Peninsula, and Lone Rock, once surrounded by houseboats, is now a hike.
Last year when we came, everything was literally completely full. Houseboats over there, over there, over there. Boats driving by, every 5 minutes, everything you could see, and now it's just can't even go over there.
Popular activities like boating are limited. The National Park Service shows they once had 15 boat ramps, but now just one is open.
We do some kayak guiding for a company here in town, and this year I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 boats a day. In previous years, you would be seeing upwards of 12 boats a day.
Businesses in surrounding towns say they are worried. The town of Page, Arizona, which was built during the construction of Lake Powell, normally hosts 5 million annual visitors, who are key customers to the just 7,500 residents.
There's a lot of businesses in Page that rely on the reservoir, so there's a lot of businesses at stake that can create a lot of fear and worry and wonder about what's next.
The variability of lake levels has made some opt out of water-based offerings. Beth Henshaw owns a hiking and vehicle tour company and says many will need to shift to land-based attractions, accessing areas of the Colorado River outside of the dam, or giving educational tours on the changing levels.
There's a lot of opportunity for Page to shift its tourism away from lake recreation. If that is going to be our future, then I think we can be an adaptable town.
There also may be some emerging new offerings. Zaina Stutz with the Glen Canyon Institute says the lowering levels have caused side canyons to become hiking spots with native plants and animals, and rapids returned in Cataract Canyon upstream of the dam.
Whether it is whitewater rafting or hiking or, a true backcountry experience, we are seeing people engage with Glen Canyon in different ways. As this landscape continues to shift, people are going to just evolve.
Shading Games worries all industries are threatened.
Lake Powell is a huge draw for tourism to this area, and so if due to lower lake levels we're getting less people coming here, that probably will impact the amount of people who will sign on to our hiking tours as well.
In North Carolina, farmers are feeling the impacts from the ongoing drought. Flower growers say they've seen their business dry up because people don't want to buy something that they have to water. Much of the area is under restrictions that govern when plants can be watered.
We're getting to the point where having to manage how much irrigation we use to try to make sure we have enough water to establish a strawberry crop for this fall. Some things might end up being abandoned if it keeps going as hot and dry as it's been.
Farmers also have seen smaller crops this season, and they're hoping some decent rain comes before their fall crops like corn and pumpkins are also affected by the dry conditions. Here in East Tennessee, advancing technology is offering farmers a new way to manage their land from above. A company launched by the University of Tennessee college students uses drones to improve efficiency while also cutting down on risks in the field. Lauren Davis spoke with the business co-owner and explains how it works.
From steep hillsides to muddy fields, farmers are finding a new advantage in the air. Now a Knoxville company is using drone technology to help make farm work more precise, efficient, and in some cases, safer. A new approach to farming is taking off in East Tennessee. New Horizon Precision uses drones to spray crops, seed fields, and map farmland with accuracy that's hard to match from the ground.
Most people actually don't realize that tractor rollovers are the #1 cause of farm fatalities in Tennessee, and that's because farmers are forced to push their tractors beyond their limits on East Tennessee's steep slopes.
That added safety is one of the biggest benefits. For longtime farmer Dwayne Bledsoe, the difference is already noticeable.
It is so much more accurate than what we can do with a tractor and sprayer.
He says the drones also use significantly less product.
I bought 10 gallons of spray to use for a tractor, and he did it with about 3.5 gallons.
While traditional equipment can still be faster in some cases, drones offer precision and flexibility, especially in tough conditions.
We can actually cover up to 70 acres per hour, and there's not a lot that these drones can't do, especially in terms of accessing wet or muddy fields.
As the agriculture industry evolves, farmers say keeping up with the technology is key.
Don't be afraid of this new technology. Embrace it because it'll pay dividends.
Spencer says this is their first season working independently. Last season, they had a partnership and shadowed the Knox Farmers Co-op. Back to you.
And hopefully the farmers will be getting some much needed rain as we head into Friday and the upcoming weekend with more widespread rain chances expected. Hopefully it's just not too much of a good thing because we don't really want to have to deal with any more flooding. Temperatures generally will stay pretty close to average in the upper 80s to near 90 degrees all the way into next week. Just be careful with that heat and humidity if you have any outdoor plans. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can get the latest forecast and watch our 24/7 live radar anytime with the WBIR app. You can download that app for free and watch on your TV.